Now, in a joint operation, the Indian Navy and the Narcotics Control Bureau and the Gujarat ATS, they all have been able to seize around 3,300 kgs of drugs from an Iranian boat near Gujarat's Porbandar off the Gujarat coast. Now, this is one of the biggest such drug hauls in recent times. An Indian Navy mission deployed ship which was at sea for 2 days stopped the suspicious boat as it entered Indian territorial waters. During the investigation, the authorities discovered the large amount of drugs on the boat, following which the 5 crew members were arrested. The vessel and the narcotics were seized. The seized narcotics that included 33,000 kgs of cannabis, 158 kgs of methamphetamine and 25 kgs of morphine has been estimated to be of value of more than 2,000 crore rupees. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah has congratulated the team for this big success. Let's start off this conversation. Joining me on the telecast is Major Mohammad Ali Shah. I will quickly come to you. Major Ali Shah, you know, in the past months as well, when we reported that as well and discussed this in greater detail, there have been massive hauls of these drug seizures that have taken place in the past few months. 3,300 kgs, which is worth crores and crores of rupees. This time around, something similar had happened just a few months ago. This was also off the coast of Gujarat. Now, how should we be able to better manage this drug menace of drugs being infiltrated into our country through the Gujarat coast?
Okay, Megha, that's very, very well brought by you, and I compliment you for bringing it out in a very, very crystal clear manner. Now, 1 kg of charas in the international market, I'm told, I spoke to a few people who had some knowledge about delivered in the international market. Now, the very fact is, and I compliment the Indian Navy for this very successful catch when P-81 LRMR aircraft on surveillance duty was told that here is a suspicious vessel. And when our Indian naval ship went in and searched it, they found this contraband. They found, and it was manufactured in Pakistan. It was clearly mentioned over there, like manufactured in Pakistan. So they have apprehended those 5 sailors, those 5 people who were there all sailing with this boat, and 3,300 kgs of contraband, which you rightly mentioned, approximately 3,089 kgs of charas, 158 kgs of methamphetamine, 25 kgs of morphine. So it is one of the largest catches we have got till now. I remember catching a truck of ganja way back. It was the year 2008 when I was with the Assam Rifles in the northeast part of India. This is a huge catch, Megha, and the very fact is, it only shows and exposes how, because it's very clearly mentioned over there, it's manufactured in Pakistan. The narco-terrorism that Pakistan is trying to do in India, because they are unable to infiltrate. Our BSF, our Indian Army is very, very clearly guarding the borders, though they do not have any such place. So their frustration, okay, now how do we do it? So now let us bring it through the Gujarat coast, through the Arabian Sea, through water. Let us bring this contraband into India. It is, our security forces were alert. So we got this in a joint operation with the Indian Navy, and I commend them once again for this successful catch, Megha.
Okay, let me also get in other panelists into the discussion. And Ellen Rao, now this has been a recurrent problem. Whether it is off the Gujarat coast that the drug is infiltrated into the country, or for that matter, how there has been this massive drug trafficking that takes place in Manipur. We take a look at how it has been rampant in Punjab and other parts of our country. Now, there is, of course, the golden crescent that we talk about, where a number of countries, including Iran, have been building this route for decades together to use it to transport drugs. How significant does India's position, India's geographical placement in the Indian Ocean region impact this drug route, and can there be an aggressive, proactive action be taken by the government of India and the Indian Navy and the Indian Armed Forces to halt this?
Well, is it me, this question?
Ellen Rao, this is for you.
Uh, all right. Thank you very much. First of all, I must congratulate.
Megha, I could not understand because my audio was not properly working. Right now
Okay,
it's okay.
let me just put this question to Dr. Kripa Notia, and I'll come back to you, Ellen Rao.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, you said it, the Golden Crescent. There has been, if you go back, there has been almost 30 seizures from 2014 onwards. And almost in the same area, it starts from Makran Coast, they come down, and the total value of narcotics before this, apprehension was 6,384.70 crores, which is a huge amount. And 30 seizures, 2014, that shows the trend. That shows how everything is emanating from Makran Coast, which, of course, our neighbors in Northwest Frontiers, they are involved in every drug seizure which has taken place. And what has happened earlier, they were coming very close to our EEZ, exclusive economic zone. And transportation was taking place, other side of Lakshadweep Island, 8-degree channel we call south of Minicoy. Once they realized that our, Indian Coast Guard, Indian Navy, Narcotics Control Bureau, they have tightened the, security apparatus all along our coast. So they have now shifted the route almost 300 to 400 nautical miles beyond our EEZ. And now what they do is they go far beyond Lakshadweep, even south of Malé near Digo Garcia. That is where the catch is transported. From there it goes southward towards Australia and New Zealand, and to Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia and to India. The biggest worry is that these drugs, naturally, what we catch is something which is very good. But some of them, if they go unchecked, and they reach our country, it is reaching even the remotest place and tribal areas. I was doing research in tribal areas, and I've seen the youth there. They are also getting addicted. So there has to be a stringent measures to punish the people who are drug peddlers or how the drug is reaching there. Perhaps then, because it is very easy to make the people who are innocent, illiterate, and not fully aware of this kind of drug effect. To make them drug addict and then make them do whatever these drug peddlers want to. The biggest problem again.
Yeah. You've made your point. Okay.
The biggest problem.
I'll come back to you. Wing Commander Sudhakaran, particularly with regards to the drug menace and how crippling it can be for the country, for the people, for the youth and the economy of a nation is very apparent in how fentanyl is now the biggest killer in United States of America. And to take a look at the journey of fentanyl drug that is manufactured in China and taken to North America and then illegally transported from Mexico into United States of America, that leads to the largest number of deaths that take place in United States of America, a large percentage of them being the youth living in America. Keeping in mind how drugs have been used as a very lucrative source of revenue, whether it was about the opium that was grown in China and some percentage of it in India as well by the British and then transported, or for that matter the current state of circumstances where China at this point of time is replicating the same British model for earning revenues and also perhaps in some sort of a reconciliation or some sort of a redemption that it at this point of time is looking to seek over the decades old ago, the centuries old ago, meeting of causing the problems, the drug menace, the opium menace that was found in China. So in a situation such as this, how can India remain unscathed?
See, one is the political leadership and the will. If the bureaucracy and the politics of the day is compromised, then we cannot stop it. Go back 10 years, actually our currency was compromised. People do ask, why did we go into demonetization? But very few people, those very people who ask this question, they don't even understand why the Prime Minister was compelled to go to the brink of taking such a drastic step. No sane person would do it unless and until he is compelled to do so. He couldn't even tell the country that your currency is compromised. Imagine if the Prime Minister had come on air and told that the currency of India is being, exactly replicated by the ISI in the mint of Pakistan. Our currency would have gone bust. The economy would have nosedived. We would have told that this guy doesn't know how to handle the economy. But the courage that he showed in doing demonetization and breaking the black money that was emanating out of Pakistan, so much so that its currency nosedived after the demonetization. And still today people tend to talk and try to justify that it was not a correct move. The actual reality is the South Bloc had its hand in red. The ex-finance secretary is, behind bars. If that is what black money can do, that is what, you can well understand what drug could do. Punjab has been at the receiving end for the last, few decades or so. When they couldn't succeed in the narrative of the separatist movement of Khalistan, they tried to indoctrinate the youth of Punjab by luring them into drugs. And to a large extent, the youth were waylaid because of bad politics, bad politicians, bad lawmakers, bad bureaucrats, and bad law enforcement agencies. Today, if we have actually made this haul, I don't think we should actually pat ourselves on our back, because I don't know how much has gone undetected by like exactly how my previous panelists has covered. So whatever we've caught in the seas, good for us, but we need to keep our vigil, because a growing economy, an aspiring superpower, will be attacked from all corners.
Right.
And drug is a potent tool which our enemies will not leave. They will not stop short of not using it, and they're very untrustworthy.
Ellen Rao, coming back to you and talking about how there are these roots that are embedded, so much so that they have carried out the drug trade for decades together now. So when we talk about the Indian Ocean region and India being at the front and center of it, it becomes all the more difficult to contain this drug trade and at least not allow it to come infiltrate into the Indian territory, whether it is in the Arabian Sea side, or for that matter, when we talk about the Indian Ocean region on the eastern front. How do we tackle this? You have the Golden Crescent at one end, and then you have the Golden Triangle at the other.
Yes, Megha, definitely you are very correct in explaining all these things, and definitely India is being considered as a Golden Triangle as well as Golden Crescent, because Golden Triangle is because the maximum drugs are being manufactured at Afghanistan, then through Pakistan they are routed through India, and they are being sent to Western countries. And the Golden Crescent is also from Thailand and Myanmar, and then to India, and this becomes the hub of trading and drugs, because the most important aspect of this trade is that this lucrative business, and it brings so much huge money. Its margin of profit is so much, because if you compare the manufacturing cost in Afghanistan and then the real sale of these drugs, different type of drugs is in Western country, it is multifold. It means so many 100 times more than that when it is reached to the actual users. And in India, it is also affected adversely, because our youth is being doctrinized with these drugs, all type of drugs. Youth is being misguided, especially in Punjab. Youth might have seen that Urta Punjab like that. And not only Punjab, but in other parts of our country, or the youths are being addicted by these drugs. So this, I think that catching of this whole by the combined efforts of NCB and Navy, that is really commendable. And I do agree with Wing Commander that so many things are undetected, but still whenever this biggest haul of more than 3,000 kg of these drugs are being recovered and this being has been seized, that's really a matter of patting these our agencies, because this is only the moral boosting for us, for the agencies. And I must tell you that there is a reward policy also by the government of India, and Ministry of Finance give reward to the suitable amount to the officers and the informers, officers who are involved in this recovery, and the informer who give the right information, so that such type of holes are being caught.
Right.
So we must appreciate the efforts of our law enforcement agencies, and especially the Navy, because it is seized at the coastal areas. So one more thing I must tell you, that the information being collected for this drug cartels and drug syndicates, it's very difficult, because they are very powerful. That's the biggest persons. They are having money, power, political influences, and everything they have. But cracking their activities, that is very important. That so many informers keep their life at stake for that purpose.
Okay.
So that's a very good move, and that's I really the Home Minister of India has definitely encouraged it.
Okay, so
definitely.
Major General Mohammad Ali Shah beg your pardon, Major Mohammad Ali Shah, now in a situation such as this, where at this time we are playing on the defensive, and every single time we get on our course, there are these drug hauls that are made. For example, the one that has happened today, the 3,300 kgs of drugs that have been seized. Can there be a systematic effort built in being offensive, in being able to crack down on these routes and halting them? How much time, effort, money is going to take for the government of India to then infuse it into the Indian Navy and the other armed forces to ensure that these drug cartels are put an end to, or at least they are hindered from carrying on their drug trade through the sea routes?
Okay, Megha, that's a very good question. The thing is, see, drug menace has become actually like a Deemak completely. There was, I'll give the reference of a Hindi film in which, long in the 80s, called Jalwa, in which Nasiruddin Shah Sahab had acted as the cop who's behind the drugs big time. So there itself, I'm talking about late in the mid 80s, in fact, and now it's been so many years. There, that exposed the drug menace completely that goes on, and how people from sea routes do send drugs, and how college-going students, young boys and girls, get prey to this completely. It is ये हमारे system को दीमक की तरह अंदर से खोखला करता है. So it is something which has to be looked into. Yes, and you are right. How much time will it take for people to government agencies and security agencies to look into this? Well, Megha, it is we have been at it. We have been at it since a long time, no doubt, in every way possible. It is just it will take time, in the sense that it is actually, I'll be very honest with you, it is very tricky, and it is a very complex issue. The entire drugs business, the entire drugs problem. We have we have rave parties, we have the rich and famous going in as a customer to this. So, and as Mr. N. Rao pointed out, the profit margin is so much that anyone who is lured to it, and unfortunately, who are the people who get caught only? The foot soldiers, the small minor drug peddlers here, there, the big fish who are actually into it. The big fish always manages to get away with it. So there has to be a strong intelligence network. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, Megha.
Quickly also getting in, Dr. Kripa Nautiyal, quickly a response from you. And as Major Ali Shah said, that these are the actions that need to be taken. It is actually the ones who are operating this entire drug trafficking module that need to be caught. It is going to be a difficult, complicated operation. There has to be energy, funds that need to be infused into it. But another parallel that I want to draw is about the linkage between the drugs trafficking as well as the arms trafficking, and they go hand in hand. Now, in a situation such as this, how vulnerable does a country become? And we've seen, examples of it taking place, and I'm going to again take the example of Punjab, where the drug trafficking and the arms trafficking go hand in hand, and there is also political inclusion into this entire racket that takes place. So how do we, this is not just a problem that the youth of the country face, but this is also then a strategic territorial sovereignty problem for the country, because when you have arms trade taking place in exchange for drugs that are provided to the country, this becomes a downward cyclical spiral that is debilitating, detrimental for the country, not just for the youth of the country, but also when it comes to the security of the nation.
Megha, I couldn't agree with you more. If you see the recent incident of a Coast Guard ships boarding some of the Maldivian fishing vessels, it was meant to check if they are involved in any kind of nefarious activities. Now, if you see the Maldives, the way they are going now, they are suspecting that their boat should not be checked because there are intelligence inputs in abundance to suggest that the Persian dispensation in Maldives, they are providing safe haven to these drug and arms traffickers. So that's why they are making so much of noise about their boats being checked by Indian this thing. So there is a threat next door. And it is the route also from Makaran coast. It goes to other side of Maldives, and that is where transportation takes place. So if they also right at our doorstep get involved, naturally, it's a big concern for us. But yes, Indian agencies, Indian Coast Guard, Indian Navy, Narcotics Control Bureau, and all the intelligence agencies, they are fully prepared to counter any kind of trafficking which is taking place. And that's why I said in 2014 onwards, this one is 31st seizures. And total value will be almost 10,000 crores, almost 20,000 crores of worth of these drugs have been seized. So we have to keep the foot on the pedal, continue to remain vigilant. One success should not make us think that this is all. Next day, somebody could just sneak in without our getting or noticing them.
Yes.
So that is the big threat.
Sudhakaran, quickly coming to you, and like Dr. Kripa has said, that we need to keep chipping and we need to keep making progress, because this is not a one-off incident. There have happened previously as well. There have been confiscation of drugs of large quantities worth crores and crores of rupees. One is such example. Then we keep moving forward, and how do we ensure that the security of our nation is not compromised here with regards to the drug trade that happens?
See, drug is only one part of the problem. Black money, counterfeit currency, terrorism, all these actually, form together. That's how the adversaries are using various tools to attack India. So we need to step up our efforts. For that, we need very honest, integral officers guarding our borders. We cannot have corrosive elements, parasites within who suck our blood and then allow all these things to go on unfettered. What has been seen in the last 10 years is the kind of seizures that's been happening, that's actually risen by over 150%, which means either we have started having more honest officers, or somebody is wielding the sword and actually putting them to task and getting the work done. So whichever way we see it, I think it's good time for India. People have possibly elected the right kind of people in the power corridors, who despite, come what may, I'm not saying they're gods, they are definitely people, but they definitely know their job and they are at it. They are not here to sell their own motherland. And I think we are in safe hands for the moment. And that actually goes on to speak that there has not been a single terrorist attack, incident of terrorist attack in the hinterland,
Okay.
barring some few places in the northeast and Kashmir.
Right.
So I think if we get the good people and the correct people in the corridors of power, we can feel safe.
Okay. Ellen Rao, quickly a response from you before I wrap this up. 30 seconds.
Yes, Megha, I fully agree that where there is a will there is a way. If the politicians and the other bureaucrats are having very good their intelligence and their integrity is very soundproof, then there is no way that this type of drug menace cannot be stopped. Definitely they can be stopped. And moreover, these drugs are related to the terrorism also. You can understand that the narco-terrorism is another subject, a very, very full-fledged subject, because Pakistan is using this drug and the fake currency. As Dr. Kripal has also explained about it, they are using for that purpose to make our country very weak on that branch. But definitely, I fully agree with Dr. Mohammed that we as a citizen, we as a law enforcing agencies, we are very strong and we are doing our best, and we will keep our nation safeguarded against all these elements. And I'm sure that we will be doing our continuous efforts to stop all these menace in our country.
Okay, all right. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast. I'm completely out of time.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.